Hi there, this is Sean. In this video we're discussing the book called The Performance, written by Claire Thomas. It's one of the books that's on the Miles Franklin Literary Award long list. Here's the book. I am trying to get through all the books on the long list, so hopefully I get through them all before they announce the winner. This book took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. I had no idea what the book would be like. I had never read anything by the author before. It's probably a book I wouldn't have picked up and read, other than the fact it's on that award long list. But I was pleasantly surprised with the book, and so surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it basically from the first page. Even though it's a book that doesn't have a huge hook, it just grabbed me for some reason, and I just loved the fact that the book was all about introspection. So it's just a book about thoughts, about the characters having thoughts, and it really is an intriguing and really engaging read. If you haven't read it before, I do encourage you to give it a go. Grab a copy. I got it from the library, but grab a copy of this book, The Performance by Claire Thomas. It is a really good book. As I mentioned earlier, this book is about introspection. So we have three main characters. The characters are Margot, Ivy, and Summer. They're women of different ages, from different backgrounds, and in their current life, they all have different jobs, different outlooks on life. So we have Margot, who is a professor. She's heading towards retirement age. She's a grandmother. She doesn't want to retire, even though we learn from her thoughts that threat's hovering over her head, and she will fight on to her job for as long as possible. We get that in her thoughts as well. So that's where she is at the moment. We have Ivy. Ivy's a bit younger than Margot. I think she's in her 40s in this novel. She's got a young baby, a young toddler. It's not her first baby, but we find out that her first baby died very young, and it's her second husband as well. And her take on life is a lot different than the other two. She has a lot of money behind her, but she uses it for good. She gives a lot away to charities and causes and to programs, like she's thinking about giving money away to this theatre to allow for different voices to come in and produce shows. So she's doing a lot of work for the community with her money. Then we have Summer, and in this novel, Summer works at the theatre, so she's working that night, and she gets to see some of the performance. So she's on the door, so she doesn't catch the first few minutes of the show, but she comes in maybe 10 minutes after it starts. So she's a young person, a student at university, so she's got a different perspective than the other two. And a lot of her thoughts are around the environment, but also she's the one character that has the most unstable thoughts. She's the least confident out of all three, the least sure of herself, the least sure of what she wants from life, herself and her partner, who she has as well. So I found it really interesting that we have these three main characters all having deep thoughts while they're watching this performance of a play. And all the thoughts are presented to us in such a unique way. So all the three characters, their unique voices come through so clearly in their thoughts. So the author's done a remarkable job in creating three distinct characters. And I just found that when I was reading the chapters that are based around each character, you can kind of picture the character as well while you're reading these thoughts. You can picture who they are, what they look like. You can picture if you'd want to be friends with them, in real life. And they're all so unique. You could pick them out in a lineup based on their thoughts. That's how unique they are. And I found that just so special in this book. And it was a remarkable job, I think, that the author's done. Their thoughts are triggered by the play they're watching, the dialogue, and the imagery of the play. They're thinking about the past, the present, and also they're contemplating their futures. So it's quite deep, their thoughts, and I just found that the way they think about their own lives and the way they're imagining what their futures can be was really special as well, because neither of them are really certain what they want their futures to be or what's in store in their future. Some have more of a concrete image than others, but all three, there is some uncertainty in what they want, and they all have a few doubts about people around them at times as well. So I found that also intriguing. We get such a deep image of these three characters. It's really hard to get sucked into them. That's what makes this novel so great, and what makes you keep turning those pages. There's no action, there's no thrills, there's no car chases, there's no fights, there's no explosions. It's just all thoughts. And as the characters' thoughts sometimes, they create those little explosions through the novel. And I found that just a really different approach to a book. And that's why I found it so surprising, because I've never read a book like this. And it makes me wonder if there are more books out there that are so introspective. And would I enjoy those books as well? Or would I have to have characters in those books that I engage with a lot to enjoy the read? Of course, I'm going to discuss our three main characters because the book is all about them. It's from their point of view. That's all we get, really. First, I'll discuss Margot. Out of the three women in this novel, Margot is my favourite character. I really like her internal monologue. She has these acerbic thoughts sometimes that pop out. Sometimes she goes almost to extremes, and then there are those rare occasions as well where she just goes over the edge into extreme territory. But they're done in a really fun way. Her thoughts aren't boring, or they're quite engaging, and when she's being more acerbic and more extreme, they're very entertaining. She has a very good wit in her thoughts. Her thoughts are quite funny as well. They're also quite serious at times, and when she's thinking about her husband, who's in the first stages of Alzheimer's. So she's thinking about a life, what that life would be for her. We're seeing how these characters' external worlds are influencing their thoughts while they're just sitting there contemplating their own lives, and how important their loved ones are to them. Because what we see with Margot is that she will stick by her husband no matter what, through better and worse. Her strength of character as well comes through a lot in her thoughts. So by far out of the three characters, Margot is my favourite. Ivy is a really good character as well. What I like about Ivy is that in her past, when she thinks about her past, the things that she's gone through, she could just have sunk into despair and angst and never got out of it. But she didn't. She pulled herself out with the help of her best friend. And now she's living a really happy life, with a new husband, a new family, where she could have just sunk into despair and kind of just killed herself really away into nothing. So it's good to see that this character has this strength to change her life. And she seems to be happy in her life now and change it for the better. And I found just that strength of character and her conviction really strong in this novel. She also has a good wit as well. And in her thoughts, she comes across as quite charming. So I think it'd be a character that would be very personable if you met her in real life, and be a person who could talk to people they just meet for the first time and talk to them like their best friend. And you get that feeling with Ivy. So I think another very special character. Summer is the youngest voice in the novel. So she's in her 20s. She's very unsure of herself. She doesn't know what she really wants to do with herself. And she seems very nervous and doesn't seem to have a concrete image of who she wants to be. You get the impression that she changes herself a lot for the people around her. And you get the impression that she may not be happy with who she is at the moment. She's also very emotional, over-emotional and melodramatic. And that comes across in her thoughts as well. And just with the things she's going through from her past and at the moment in her present, her future thoughts are really focused on what's going on outside the theatre. Because outside there's threat of bushfires in the country, as I said, in the city. So that's primarily on her thoughts as well. So this character doesn't really think about her future too far into the future. She's more focused on the now, and her past, I think, influences her more than the other two characters. Summer's probably my least favourite of the three characters, but still a very good character, just not one that I engaged with as much as Ivy and Margot. I thought the performance, written by Claire Thomas, was a really good book. I rated it a 4 out of 5. This is an author I think I would read again, and I think she does have other books out there, at least one, so I will be hunting for that. Hopefully there's more than one that I can get my hands on and read, because I think her writing style and the way she creates her characters is very special. I do encourage people to read this book. It's so different from anything else you'll read, I think. I've never read books that's just an internal monologue. Well, 3 internal monologues, really. I think it is a really special book. On my channel, I do review books from all different genres. Check out my channel to see if there's anything there you'd like. And while you're there, why not subscribe? I'll try to read and review every book on the Miles Franklin Literary Award long list. Hopefully I'll get through them all. If you don't want to miss out on those reviews, check out my channel and look out for the playlist for the Miles Franklin Literary Award long list. It will be on my channel as well, and hopefully on your screen right now.